All right, the red light is on. It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. Ben and Bananas is back with the pay-per-view week. Dave Van Auken here at the bottom. The ruthless one, the fight of the Ben and Bananas. Elle Dawson. Elle, how are you?
I am freaking fantastic. How are you guys? I'm so stoked that we're having Betting Bananas.
Dude, your story, you put on a IG and Facebook story 45 minutes ago talking about this, and I had it up on full volume at home with the kids and the wife, and she's like, dang, Elle seems excited. Susie was like, okay, I'll go for it. I love it. So I love it. I loved your momentum. It's a pay-per-view week, so we got to get our main man, Rafael Esparza, on it. Rafael, my man, how are you?
I'm doing well. I have not seen that IG story because before I came on it, I was doing my Food Network TV odds because I have the Tournament of Champions 5 betting odds up, and so I was readjusting them because we got some money coming over the week. So sorry, Al, I have not watched your IG yet.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's a good one. Before we get into it, before we even get to 297, I have one thing on UFC 300. But even before we do that, Rafael, sell some stuff. You got something coming up in 12 days. Go away.
I'm actually sponsored one. I'm not one of the sponsors, but a new TV network coming on Wuku and Apple TV and other streaming services. It's called NGBN TV. It's a no disrespect, Al, but it's a show for men. It's a station for men's 30, 40, 50s, and 60s. We're gonna have a whole bunch of sports shows on there, but a lot of mental health shows because
Nice.
men ages 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s have the highest suicide rate. So there's fantastic shows, some doctors on there talking about mental health. We're gonna have some athletes come on, football players come on and talk about mental health on some of their shows. And then we have a whole bunch of betting shows on there, which I'll be their lead gaming analysis on there talking about, what I talk about, betting odds and stuff like that, where you can pretty much bet anything and everything pretty much anytime. So a little bit excited on that. But yeah, that should be fun, stuff like that. I'm more excited for the mental health stuff more than me talking about gambling because I think that's something we should talk about more and more now these days. I don't care, man, female, kids, teenagers. It doesn't matter age or male or female or anybody. We should always be talking about more mental health issues.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Anything positive we can bring to light, I'm into it. So always love and appreciate your time. Let's get into it. Oh, before UFC 297, I told you I had one thing real quick on UFC 300. We talked a little bit about it, but I'm going to left turn it real quick. So last night, Dana White came on and said, hey, guys, Jim Miller, of course, versus Bobby Green. Not going to talk about that. That's amazing. Hey, Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway, BMF title. And hey, thank you, Al. There you go. So I'm going that way. And so, of course, of what I do, I have all on my Twitter feed, all on the IG feed, all on Fight Bananas. We're posting about it, talking about it. And I saw so much negativity about this fight. Like, oh, it doesn't make sense. I don't get it. Isn't Gaethje fighting Islam and all this stuff? I'm like, guys. Once in a while, I drop it. Here I go. What the fuck? We have Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. Just take it. Like sometimes in life, if someone comes and gives you a free dessert at your dinner, you just say, thank you. I don't care what it is. Apple pie, you got the chocolate mousse, you got a chocolate sundae, you just take it. It's Gaethje versus Holloway. Like, let the rest of the year or the fight card or anything else go. We have Gaethje and Holloway. Like, that's amazing. Maybe one of the best top 3 fights you can make in the industry. Like, I just don't understand.
I think the BMF belt attached to it, I think that's dead. It's dead in the water. No one cares about the BMF belt anymore. I think that has more of the negativity than the fight itself. When I saw it, I'm like, oh, cool. And then I saw for the BMF belt. I'm like, really? I'm like, who cares about the BMF belt? Well, don't ever. That's like wrestling talking about the Intercontinental Championship. No one cares about the Intercontinental Championship. It's all about the heavyweights and the world champions. So I get about the BMF fight. I think it's kind of played out, I think.
For one, Roth, don't underestimate Gunther right now. He's hot and he's coming for Brock Lesnar.
He's losing at WrestleMania, but that's another story.
Yeah, that's another story for another podcast. But I get that to a certain extent, and even that. So I heard a lot of that. But at the end of the day, that's just the UFC and them selling stuff and all that. Regardless of the belt, who cares if it's on the line or not? One, I kind of like it. It's actually being defended for the first time, so I do like that. But then at the end of the day, they closed the cage. We still got Gaethje and Holloway. It's like
I respect the fight. It's
amazing.
So oh my God, like who could possibly be upset about this? This is a striker's delight. Two of the guys with the highest volume in the UFC. I've said this before and I'll stand by it. I don't like Max at lightweight. I don't think it's a good move for him.
Sure.
But I want to see this fight.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I want to see this fight.
Oh, hey, Sean is green. I agree with Rafael. Yeah. All right. Wow. There we go. U.S. title. And dude, we're going in the weeds right now on Benavidez. We're going for it. I like it.
Sean, I do a lot of stuff for WWE, so we need to talk. I'll give you some little plug for. I got some good stuff for Royal Rumble and midweeks, but that's
all right. UFC 297. We have not one but two final title fights on the card. The middleweight title fight, we talked about it yesterday on the Fight Banana Show live. They got us all hooked, line, and sinker. This fight is awesome. I cannot wait. They have my $85. I will be ordering on pay-per-view. The rest of the card, a lot of Canadian love. And, of course, the highlight of this Saturday is Jillian the Savage Robertson. Fight Banana is fighting and going to win. She's a minus 300. She's the third biggest favorite of the fight. I love it. So let's get into it first and foremost. Elle, what is your best bet of UFC 297 in Canada?
My best bet is Jillian the Savage Robertson.
Oh, boo! You took my play.
I wanted to add the sub play because obviously minus 300 isn't the best value. But man, Viana has struggled on the ground in the past, and she doesn't have fantastic takedown defense. The amazing thing about Jillian is not only is she crazy tough, but she's so relentless with her takedown attempts. And unless you're going to move your feet and really like stick and move like Tabitha Ritchie did when she fought her, you're going to have a hard time staying on your feet. And Polyana Viana, she tends to go forward. She tends to plod forward. She does have land some solid power shots, but Jillian's just so tough. I just don't see how she doesn't get this to the ground. I think Polyana's takedown defense is like 30-something%. Yeah. And she tends to almost accept the takedown because she is really comfortable with her jiu-jitsu and she's comfortable on her back, but that is not something she should do against somebody with jiu-jitsu as high level as Jill. Like, I think Jillian gets her down. I think she accepts the takedown and gets submitted. Go ahead, Dave.
100% agree. And two things with that. One is, and Ralph, I don't know if you're going to get into it. I love the under 2.5 rounds in this fight. It's minus 160 the last time I checked. Okay. There's going to be a stoppage. I love G getting a stoppage early, round 1 or even 2. So under 2.5, if you want to fight that juice down to minus 160, go under 2.5. Like that a lot. And secondly, Elle, we talked to Jillian a lot, and even just on the last time before she left, or maybe it was me and Maddie talked to Jillian. I don't know if you listened to it. She's always been with me, and even on all the shows we do, she's always brutally honest and just speaks it how it is. That fight camp and everything with Tabitha Ritchie, it was too quick of her being strawweight. It was like back-to-back camps and the weight cut, and from the get-go. And I know it sounds passing of her dog and all that. It was a bad camp. She should have got out of that fight, never did. And this one, and I talked to her on air and off air about it. Like, she's ready. Like, she feels great. The weight cut's amazing. She's so happy to fight in Toronto. She's cool to be on a pay-per-view. She has nothing but great mojo in her personal life and fight life. Like, you just know sometimes, like, this is the right time. This is the right Saturday for Jillian Robertson. I'm telling you, it's a lock. It's a lock.
Couldn't agree more with you two. And the submit plus 140. You're telling me I can get plus money on this when she's a minus $3 favorite. It blows me around. And what you said, David, when I did more research and about all the bad stuff she had in her last fight, the dog passed away, made me cry a little, choked up and stuff like that, because you hate that to see that for anybody. She's just motivated, and she's in her backyard, and it's a pay-per-view. It blew me away. When I saw the numbers come out, I saw the plus money on submit. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this is kind of – so I actually had to do a little bit more research. I'm like, is this an error? And then I saw other shops had the same number. I actually saw plus 150 at one of the shops. So I think it's a great, great, great number for a submission at plus money.
I couldn't agree more. Plus, that's crazy. Plus 140 on the Jillian the sub. I might switch to that. You can put G as a huge anchor of multiple parlays. You can do a fun Canadian parlay.
No parlays, people.
What?
No parlays, people. Come on. It's a fight game. Anything can happen.
That's true.
It's always dangerous.
I'll wait for later. There's one parlay I actually did earlier today. I was like, I love it. I got G. All right, here we go. So that's our, best bet. We're all in. Jalen the Savage Robertson. We love you. Good skill in Toronto. All of that. L, how about an underdog play? There's not a lot that I like. Usually I feel like there's 2, 3, 4. I looked at the car. There's like 1.5, maybe. Let me see if we're on the same one. What underdog do you like?
I kind of felt the same way, and I feel like I'm going a little higher risk with my underdog. I didn't see a lot of people agreeing with me, and maybe I'm off the wall here, but I really kind of like Garrett Armfield here against Brad Katona. I think Brad Katona can be a little overvalued. He's definitely manages to win fights against guys that are better than him, which I really commend. Like, he's a grinder for sure. But Garrett Armfield is so freaking tough. There's not a lot of guys who outgrind him. He obviously lost his UFC debut up a weight class on super short notice. But man, Garrett can box. He's a really technical striker. He's got power, and he has really solid takedown defense. And after seeing Brad fight Timur on The Ultimate Fighter in a fight that I did think he lost, obviously he looked great against Cody Gibson. I don't know that Cody Gibson was quite ready for the UFC for that level. Like, I wasn't super impressed with his performance leading up to that. So I just don't know how Brad Katona is going to do in the UFC this time. And I'm interested to see that because obviously after he beat Bryce Mitchell, which was this huge deal, he dropped a couple fights and unfortunately got cut. One of those fights was obviously to Merab. So maybe I'm undervaluing Brad a little bit here, but I know Garrett personally. We're both from Missouri. We both came up in the same gym, and the dude is just so crazy tough. And I feel like he's going to be a tough guy to outgrind here. And so I'm liking the plus money on Garrett.
Okay. That was not one of them. But El, how much I feel about your analysts and stuff. So I'm going to look into that a little bit more. I will look into that. Raphael, you have an underdog play that you
may have some undertones of bias. Just know that.
Yeah.
Dude, us at Fight Bananas having a little undertone of bias. That's not us.
Al shocked me on that one. I totally agree with you, dude. I'm going to do a dive in on that.
I gotta look back into it.
That was one. I'm going to co-main event. I like Raquel coming with 5 straight W's coming in there. I know she's I don't want to say huge underdog. I have a feeling she's going to be probably minus $2 favorite. Probably, I think the betting public's going to go against her. I'm not saying that I'm biased just because I love her little girl when I watch on Instagram. Her and their little girl is so sweet, but I think she's just in the right mindset now. I think the way she's going, 5 straight wins. I just think she's ready for this one. I would not be shocked if this one goes to the decision by her. Now, take the decision over 4.5 rounds. I just don't see this one going out early. I would not be shocked if the judges make this call. So 4.5 over, I think, is also a good play. But give me the plus money on Raquel. And that little girl's going to be at the fight. Give the little girl something to cheer for with mom getting the W.
That's true. Hey,
what are the stats on like new moms?
I tried to find that. When I think it was 2 days ago when I saw Tisha said, "Oh, getting ready to fly to go see mom," whatever he said. Now something like, wow, I wonder what the stat is of newborns or babies coming to fights. And I was Googling it and I couldn't find anything. But that's a good stat. They should need to put that on there.
I like what Sean said here.
I'm with Sean. I am. It's actually one of my probably second or fourth best feel on the whole card. I love Myra in this spot. I love the momentum of her in the last 2-3 years. She's at a really, really good gym down there in Coconut Creek, Florida. Coaches and everything of that nature.
Well, you're not biased.
Yeah, that's what we done though. And there's nothing against Rocky Pennington, but I just feel she's been around. And a lot of those fights she just won because of her veteranship. I don't know if she's championship. Like, I don't know if she can win the belt. Like, she's a good challenger. I think this is a decent co-main event. I'll give it that. I think Myra is a championship caliber fighter. I think Myra's going to get the job done. You're right. So here's a sneaky my underdog, and we haven't really got into it. We're 14 minutes into it. I'm going all in. I think I like Dricus to become the new UFC middleweight championship. He's a slight dog, very slight, but the more I kind of feel this fight and see the momentum of Dricus and Sean Strickland, and I know that's his style, but the man's like he's everywhere. Like he's just everywhere. And maybe it's too much with the dad thing and all in the head. And he's messaging him and he's doing the fireworks with Nina. He's just like everything. And I know that's like Sean, and I get it. But this is to win a championship as an underdog and you have nothing to lose. He kind of like, gravied in that. Now you're the champion. You're the bet-in favorite championship of a pay-per-view. That's a different mindset. And I just don't know. And I think Dricus as the dog and just going into the fight and his momentum and the power. And I think he's going to just like, we talked about this yesterday. Like it's going to be 100% one way or the other. And I think Dricus gets it done quickly. I think doesn't go over 7 minutes. I think.
Are we going to break down the main event right now? Let's do it. Let's do it right now in the middle.
I know. I told you. I was like, I know.
What I said, I'm going to make another drink while we talk about the main event, guys. If you're doing dry January, you need some of this. It's called Seedlip. It's non-alcoholic. It tastes freaking delicious.
Do they have a social channel? Their socials.
They have a what?
Did they have their socials? We gotta get a plug.
Yeah, we need to tag them because it really is good. I'm not kidding. I'm just doing it with like ginger beer.
There we go. I like that a lot.
I'm learning more. I'm learning more on this show today than anything.
Give me a non-alcoholic sponsor.
There we go.
Main event under 4.5.
Exactly. I think it's under 4.5. I think Dricus, it's a train tracks, hot knife butter, 3-4 analogies there. I think Dricus gets it done early, quickly. So that's my dog.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing with this fight. Either that will happen or Sean Strickland will win the world's most one-sided decision. And Grant said something today that I absolutely agree with. He said there is absolutely no way. Grant Dawson, most handsome man on the planet.
Wow, never heard of him.
He said something
very
today
handsome, very handsome fighter.
Really good looking dude. You guys haven't seen him. He said that there is absolutely no way that this fight does not end in some sort of controversy. And I absolutely agree because these are two really awkward styles clashing. You have Sean Strickland, whose lead hand is always out with his fingers straight out. You have Dricus du Plessis, who's constantly crashing forward, this close to headbutting everybody in every exchange. There's going to be an illegal blow. It's going to happen. There's absolutely no way this doesn't either have a weird controversial decision or an illegal blow or somebody's going to win and jump out of the cage like Khabib and Conor McGregor. Like something crazy is going to happen in this main event.
You know who's there too as well? A very slender, ex middleweight champion Israel Adesanya will be there in the building. And we talked about UFC 300. I think especially if this fight ends quickly or at least on one side, Izzy versus the champion will happen at UFC 300. It's going to happen.
It makes sense. It makes the most sense.
It makes sense. I totally agree with Elle. Something Conor-ish is going to happen in this fight. Something that people are going to talk on Monday. This is why they purchased WWE, because it felt like a WWE event after this fight. It's going to happen. That's why I put up who's going to bleed first. Right now, everyone's taking Strickland right now at plus money. He was plus 140, and I was down to plus 120. I like the underdog, but he's not going to be an underdog. It would not be shocking. This was a pick 'em. When they get into the octagon, I just think the underdog money is going to go. And the only person I feel bad about this fight is UFC HR. That's the only. I mean, I would hate to be the UFC HR for this fight, for the presser, for the weigh-in and stuff like that. That's the big loser of UFC 297. Is UFC HR is probably going to be the big loser in this one.
Rafael, I have a question for you. What are the odds on a DQ on this fight ending by disqualification?
Wow,
that's a good one.
If L. Dawson calls this is cut up. This is history. But we'll just plug this over. This is like
I don't know that it'll happen, but I think it's worth $10 if the odds are as crazy as I think they're going to be.
A draw is 70-1 right now.
Well, to me, it can't be draw because it's going to be so one-sided. I do agree, like the DQ, an eye poke, a bloody, eye because of elbow or some kind of low blow, some crazy.
I'm going to put DQ. I'm going to put we don't have that up. I'm going to put that up when I get done with the show. I'm going to put up a DQ number.
Yeah, let's do it.
There we go. I like
Because
that.
I could see that, and I'm hoping Vince McMahon throws a chair in the ring or something. That'd be fantastic.
He should be there. He should be there. This is crazy. We're literally creating odds here on Bet and Bananas. We gotta love that. All right, so we got our best bet. A lot of Jillian Love, underdog, Armfield, Drinkus. El Rafael, did you have an underdog play that you liked or is seeing action on and that you're pretty surprised about? I know you mentioned.
I think the main event is going to be so much two-way action or so much money against Sean Strickland. And Sean Strickland reminds me of Kobe a couple months ago, and how his microphone words and how his antics made him the betting underdog when people thought, oh, it's a show, he's going to get all the action, and it went totally reverse, and the whole outcome of the fight went totally reverse. I'm seeing something like this. I think that's why usually main events, champion money comes in all week long and stuff like that, and we have not seen championship money in this fight.
It's just so funny that I actually had thought that. I should have said it to you before the show, but we're live, so this is what we do here in Fight Bananas. Is this? I haven't remembered. Islam Makhachev is usually minus 550. We said Izzy was minus 700 against Strickland. A lot of the fights, usually championship fights, there's the odds are so on the championship side. Do you remember a champion being an underdog going into a championship fight?
No, I haven't seen one like that. I used to saw heavyweights used to be something like that, like on a round two, like if there was a rematch, we would see heavyweights. Nothing like this in this weight class. I haven't seen one in boxing or in UFC or MMA. It's very, very rare. Boxing, you'll see it on a like maybe a rematch or something like that. But this is very, very rare, especially if it goes to a pick'em. If it goes to a pick'em, that's going to be totally blown away. Or Strickland being plus money, that'd be really, really weird.
Yeah. Very cool.
Oh,
all right.
Another point to this. Dude, did you guys see the picture that Strickland, like Eric from Extreme Couture posted of Strickland? He looks massive.
Chiseled.
Yeah.
Like Strickland's never had abs like that, ever.
Enormous. He looks enormous. And Drinkus is a big dude too, so I'm very interested to see what they look like facing off in a few days.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Massive.
It's wild that the Strickland fight wasn't that long ago with Izzy. Like they kind of turned these boys around quickly for Strickland, and it just like to see Strickland weighing pictures and him fighting against Izzy. Like he's always been skinny, but he's never like been muscular in the ab section. You saw the picture of him and Johnny Evelyn that they posted at the PI, and this is before him cutting weight. Like, dude, the Strickland's gonna have a 14-pack on weighing day. Like, it's gonna be insane.
Craig is correct. I forgot Carla Esparza was an underdog.
Good one, Craig.
I forgot about that because I was actually at that fight, and my last name was Esparza, so people thought we were related. We're not related, and actually, my sister's name is Carla, but she spells it with a K. So it's funny. I got there for a press pass, and they sent me to the family. I'm like, "Oh, your family's sitting already." I'm like, "My family's here." I'm like, "My family's not here," and then I'm like, "Oh my god, I totally forgot." So I was at that one.
That's awesome. Good stuff there. All right, now that's like I said, I lost last week. My girls didn't eat lunch all week because we bet on Phil Hawes, the underdog, because Elle Dawson told me to. So we need some money. We got to get some food next week. Let's head on a 3-5 parlay. Can we start with this 2024 and a 3-5 parlay win? Can we do that?
I'm going to do my very best, okay?
All right.
I'm going to start off with what I wanted to be my lock, but man, the odds were just not good. Like, it didn't make sense. Jasmine Jasudavicius is a freaking lock over Priscilla Cachoeira.
Yeah.
Priscilla, she lands like 4 strikes for every 7 she gets hit with. She usually wins by being the bigger, more powerful physical fighter. And Jazz is a big flyweight. And she's got great striking. She's super physical. She can wrestle. And she has a solid chin. Priscilla absolutely has the power to put people away. But I feel like that has to happen early in the fight for Priscilla here. The longer the fight goes on, I feel like she's going to slow down more and more. And she has a gaping hole in her game with her ground game, her takedown defense, and her submission defense. And it has not improved throughout her very extensive UFC career. I don't see that happening again. I would have loved to add a prop, but I am not super confident in the decision or the finish either way, but Jasmine Jasudavicius is going to win this fight.
Okay, love it.
My second leg, I have Mike Malott winning inside the distance over Neil Magny. I was back and forth on this because obviously we haven't seen Mike Malott against like this is a big step up for him. This is his like next step in the chain of command, so to speak. So sometimes when these big finishers go up to a higher level, sometimes they don't see as many finishes. But then going through Neil Magny's record, seeing the jiu-jitsu guys that he has been submitted by, obviously very high level guys like Gilbert Burns, Shavkat Rakhmonov, I have a lot of faith in Mike Malot's grappling here. I think his submission danger is really, really great. And I think being in Canada, Canadian fighters have historically done really, really well in Canada. I feel like he feeds off the crowd well. They absolutely adore him in Canada. They're looking for that next big star since GSP retired, so they're looking for him to fill that hole. And Neil Magny just doesn't have a lot of danger factor. He's a technical guy, but he's older. He's towards the end of his career. Ian Gary, I feel like could have finished Neil Magny, and he just didn't really ever step on the gas. Mike Malott is all gas. So I definitely think he's going to get it done here. And then my third leg, I have Charles Jourdain winning over Sean Woodson. So I was going through both these guys' records, and I thought it was funny. They both lost by Darce to Julian Erosa, who isn't like one of the names that comes up right away when you think about like top featherweight contenders, but that dude has insanely dangerous front headlock. He's got a really great Darce, and he's tough as nails. So I thought that was a fun little thing to see on their records. But going through these records, if you look at Sean Woodson's record, he has beat Dennis Bazooka. He beat, oh my God, I was just looking at it. So Dennis Bazooka is the only guy that Sean Woodson has beat who is still in the UFC.
Right.
And he is 0-2 in the UFC.
Right.
And he has one of the worst strength of schedules outside the UFC that I have ever seen.
He's a Ray Longo guy.
It's I like Ray Longo a lot, but
yeah,
I don't think that Dennis Bazooka is UFC caliber. The other wins that Sean Woodson has in the UFC, not one of them is still on the roster. Now we go to Charles Jourdain's strength of schedule, and he's had much tougher fights. Groovy Lando, Shane Burgos. He lost to Shane in a very controversial decision, but that was when Shane Burgos was doing really, really well.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Charles Jourdain has more ways to win here. I don't know that Woodson has enough of a danger factor to deal with a guy who's as athletic and moves as well and as awkwardly as Charles Jourdain. Obviously, Woodson has that reach advantage. He uses it really well, but I think Jourdain is more dangerous here. I think he will win the grappling exchanges, and I think he'll make it dirty. And I really like him here, and I'm honestly surprised that the lines weren't wider. They're very close on this fight.
Yeah, $2 favorite. And it's probably going to stay that way because we got early money on a dog that came in. So I would not be shocked if we maybe go to 220, 225. But I thought we were going to see 250, 260 as the opening number.
Right. That's a Canadian parlay. That's all three of them.
Oh my God, you're right. It is. I didn't even notice. Yeah. I kind of forgot Charles Jourdain was Canadian.
With the ITD, that's going to boost it up a lot. I'm sorry I didn't do it. On my phone, I was just literally texted really cool breaking news that I can't break because that's just how I live. But it's pretty cool. So I was just really tied up with something else. But the only thing that, and I did, you know how much I'm a huge Malott guy. Love Malott. We talked about it in the show, on air and off air. Malott's huge. I'm a little worried with, like you said, when they do that step up. Ian Gary kind of did it with Neil Magny. Sometimes they don't finish the fighter when they make the step up. And they need to get that win and that confidence of like, wow, I just beat a top 10, top 15 guy. And then maybe they can go on that run again of stopping people. Other than that, absolutely love it. Like, I agree. Jazz, Malott, and Jourdain, love it. I think all three of them are going to win.
Now you've got me worried about my in the distance. Like, maybe we should just go money line on all three.
No. That's your parlay. I'm just telling you and dude, I think Malott can do it. And I think I'm hoping he does. I'm just saying that as the devil's advocate. I am worried on that step up to get the ITD. That's all.
See, and I brought that up with Shavkat versus Wonder Boy, and I was totally freaking wrong. So I was like, you know what? Screw that. We're going back the other way.
I love it. And this is the Shavkat, I think, to all of us. If he fights for the championship, he might literally be the betting favorite. Like, Shavkat, I think, is on this another level.
Yep.
I love Mike Malott. Like him a lot. I just don't know if he is right there right now in early 2024. Right. Like, if he fights for the championship, where is he in the pecking order? So we'll see. Ralph, we'll go to you. How do you like those picks? Is there something that you would add or not add or tinkle with? Where are you at on those?
Oh, I like them, especially the last one. Like I said, I really thought it was going to open up around 250, 260. So now you're telling me $2. I think it's a steal. Like I said, I don't see it going past 225, 230, unless something really weird goes on a weigh-in. Which I don't think is going to happen, but I thought that number was a little off on that one. But I mean, yeah, this card's a lot of heavy favorites, and so it really, for a betting wise, there's really not much value unless you start looking at the prop bets inside KO, stuff like that, because a lot of chalk, and usually Canada fights have chalk. Every time there's UFCs in Canada, I'm praying to the parlay guys to say, can we get an upset? Can we get an underdog in one of these fights? Can you please get a $2 one? But yeah, I think that's going to be, I look at this card and it's going to be chalk. I have a feeling a lot of those big ones. I have a question for you, David. If Buffalo's playing Saturday night against Kansas City, what are you watching on sound?
I'm very lucky they play Sunday at 6:30. I already looked into it. And the crazy part is I have tickets for the Royal Rumble next Saturday. So the AFC better be playing on Sunday. I know it's crazy, and this is what I do for a living, but I am a diehard Buffalo Bills fan, especially how this season went. I went to Buffalo 8 weeks ago when they lost to Denver. This run has been amazing. On sound, I would have the Buffalo Bills because they will defeat our nemesis, the Kansas City Chiefs, and I would have the UFC on my phone. It's 2024. We have tablets, phones. My kids have phones. Like,
that's why I said sound. I mean, everybody, when people ask me what am I watching in my office, because I have so many TVs. I wish I could turn my computer on because I have TVs everywhere in my office. I always tell them, don't ask me what I have on my TVs. Ask me what I have on sound.
Right.
That's the more important.
And I think, I'm a huge John Anna guy. He was on our show literally last week. So I'm not one of those people that dislike the commentary, but there's I know a ton of people that do not like commentary, the UFC commentary, that they watch the fights with no sound on purpose. And I'm not one of those guys at all. Like, I need to hear some insight or what's going on, what they're thinking. Like,
it sounds kind of lame. Like,
I know.
I'm one of those guys.
It's like fighting in the apex. Like,
I watch a lot of fights with no sound. I'm one of those. I have to say, I'm one of those guys. But I also am watching horse racing and football and such.
You're working. You have an excuse, Dave. I don't care about football, but I do care about the Kansas City Chiefs. So,
do you really?
So I genuinely hope you're wrong and that the Bills lose. No, I don't care that much. But.
Unbelievable, dude. I'm like this. And the best part about this, like my boys got the shirts and they're all into Buffalo with me now. We're all in, the whole family's in. Pizza and wings Sunday at 6:30. I was about to end the show because, like I said, I was maybe getting.
I actually threw a curve at you.
I don't know. I love the curveball, but maybe this breaking news might literally come on the show right now. So I'm giving it another minute. Let's kind of BS for a minute. If you guys want to leave, you can, but we might have some cool stuff coming on. Let's see. They asked for the link. So I sent them the link.
Who's coming on?
Who's coming on?
Elle, you will definitely know when you see. You'll know. But
okay.
Okay, so that's
it's a Raquel Pennington's little girl. That'd be so cool.
That would be funny.
It's a little cutie.
What other fights did we not talk about?
We really went into the co-main event. Elle, you know Myra and ATT, of course, more than any of us. Do you like I think Myra is a pretty solid. I don't want to say lock. I think she wins the belt. I think she's that good.
I really like her here too. Man, she's super dangerous. Like, absolutely. She lost the first round against Holly. And typically when people lose that kind of momentum against somebody like Holly, it's hard to come back from. And she has that ability to kind of suck you into these traps with her grappling. And she's so physical. Raquel Pennington not having a ton of danger factor makes me feel like that really helps Myra here. Because even if she is down, let's say Raquel Pennington is pressing her up against the cage, like outstriking her, whatever, Myra can always win. And in a 5-round fight, that's 2 extra rounds of time that she can find that opening. And and create a scramble that puts her in a position where she can submit somebody. And she can do that from almost any position. So I love her here. Yeah.
But that's why I kind of like Raquel. I think the longer this fight goes, the better I think the dog for Raquel. I think the longer this fight goes, I think it's going to be better for her. Not saying that she's better. Not saying someone has better endurance or conditioning. Right. I just think the longer this fight goes, the dog usually says, "Hey, I'm still in this. I'm sitting in a chair and it's round 4 now. I have something here."
Right. And I mean, like Raquel obviously has the 5-round experience. But I just feel like that extra 2 rounds of time for Mayra to find her opening is just gives her, an extra edge.
Another great fight that we actually didn't mention at all was Arnold Allen and Mosar. Like that is a really, really good fight. When that fight was announced for this card, had nothing to do with Canada and these 2 guys, but like they got this on the pay-per-view for a reason. 2 high-level guys. Mosar's a machine, but Arnold Allen's one of those guys like. Before the Max Holloway fight, he was thought of like this undefeated and didn't lose in the UFC, this nice, great run. But like, and everyone kind of got off the train at the Max Holloway. And we say this all the time. Max Holloway beats everyone except for Alexander Volkanovski. So like, I don't take
I was just going to say, wait a minute, not everyone.
Everybody but Volk. It's nuts. And that's why I don't like to see guys like Arnold Allen fight Max Holloway because all we do is lose a contender in a division that is starving for contenders. Like people are salivating over Ilia Topuria fighting Volkanovski because it's been so long since we've even thought Volk could lose a fight.
Now does Mosar, I think he might get confused a little bit with the southpaw. That's the only thing that scares me on that one.
I just think Arnold Allen at plus 180 is good money.
I agree.
Like, what, El?
Oh, I think that Mosar's ability to ride is what, like, he just sticks to people. And I feel like people underrate his wrestling because he doesn't have the best control. But the dude averages like 5 takedowns a fight and has only ever fought in 3-round fights. That's quite a few. And I feel like it's his ability to just stick to people like glue. And if Allen can't create that space, like Ige, amazing striker, but he just couldn't create that space and unstick himself from Mosar. So even though he was getting up, he was just getting smothered. And that's why I feel like Mosar can do that to Allen as well, unless Allen can put together some really powerful shots. And even the guys who have put together some powerful shots like Diego against Mosar, he still sticks to you. Like he covers distance so well. He's a really explosive guy. Like some people just have that ability. Like Henry Cejudo is one of them to just explosively cover distance. Michael Chandler is another. And Mosar is one of those guys. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why he can set up his shots. And then once he's stuck on you, it's really hard to get him off.
How great is that Diego fight was really now? Good. Like I know it was on short notice and all, but that Diego win now is like multiplied. Like it's such a great win.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys, it's Wednesday night. I took too much of your time. We might be coming back on. I don't know, but
you're not gonna tell us? Oh, boo!
It's my life. All I get is news the whole time, and I can't say anything.
Can't say anything. I hate it.
I agree with you. My rule is I have to have double confirmation before I say anything, and half the times trying to find out that double confirmation is usually my wife and my 2 cats are the ones that get the news, and then I can't tell anybody else.
I love it. Wait.
Am I right?
Yes, no. Yes.
Yeah.
Elle just texted me. You're the best. All right, guys. UFC 297.
I hope the Swifties win.
Huh?
The Swifties?
I hope just for that. Yeah, I hope the Swifties win now for making me.
Worst thing to happen to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Thank you, Elle. That drink looks good, by the way. What was that again? Just one last time?
Seedlip. This is the Grow 42. They have several flavors. I have not tried the other ones. I mixed it with ginger beer. It was freaking fire.
All right.
Sponsor us.
That is a short story. We will tag you and let's get a sponsorship. Can we get 4 bottles sent to Miss Elle Dawson down there?
Yeah, give her some bottle.
Seedlip, guys.
Gee whiz.
I'm going to be vegging out in my house recovering from ACL surgery. I need something delicious to sip on.
If we don't get one, I will send you 4 bottles. How about that?
There you go, dude.
Kyle, you're my favorite.
Best in the business. Any last plugs, Roth? Anything else you want to get off?
No, it's just a crazy weekend. We got football, UFC 297, 294 college basketball games on Saturday when I'm watching UFC and football. So it's just it's a great time to be alive. And I always close out, don't bet what you don't have, and make someone laugh today. That's what I always tell. Make someone laugh today.
I like that. And then next week, we got CM Punk winning the Royal Rumble and the Buffalo Bills going to the Super Bowl. It's a great time to be alive right now. El, you're the
150.
best. Rob, we appreciate your time. UFC 297. Order the damn pay-per-view, folks. They deserve it. Spend the $85. Go get it. And then you can win the money right back when you bet on Jillian the Savage Robertson via submission, plus 140. You're welcome. Have a good night. We'll see everyone next Wednesday night.